Hello, welcome to In Focus. I'm Pat Uliano, your host this evening, and we have with us Andy Consoli, ABC Home Inspections. Andy, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I've known Andy, or I've known of Andy for many, many years, and you just reminded me, 28 years you've been in the business, home inspections. I've been in real estate on and off, and I just completed a boot camp with you. So you kept me awake for 12 hours, and it was a fascinating class, and it was very informative, and it was very scary, some of the things you told us, Andy. And I thought it would be a great idea to get you on here. One thing that really piqued my interest was when you talked about 93A and the fact that people get men to come in and do things to your house. But first I have to say to you, what's the first thing you say? And you've done, and I have to laugh when we start the class. The first thing you do when you walk into class for our 12-hour to renew our licenses, what? You look around and what do you say to all of us?
What do I say to all of you?
Yeah, do you remember?
No.
What are you doing here? Find another profession.
Exactly. What are you, crazy?
Yes, it's crazy. And I have to tell you, this is some of the stuff that we got that day in your class, and you read it. It's a scary profession. And you, being a home inspector, have seen some pretty scary things. Now, 93A, Andy, can you take us through what 93A is? And basically it's fixing your house.
Sure. 93A is Massachusetts Consumer Protection Law. And no matter what business you're in, if you're making this clip here, you have to make it in a certain way so that it doesn't hurt people, and you make it correct. Well, in real estate, if you sell a house or if you work on a house, build a roof, put a boiler in, you have to do it correctly. If you don't do it correctly, you can get sued under what we call Chapter 93A. 93A is a very powerful. It's a powerful tool for a homeowner to come after a contractor. If in the event a contractor does something wrong, they'll get a letter in the mail that says, we're taking you down. This is a 93A lawsuit, and you owe us for the damaged, or for the defective deck or whatever they did. Now, the contractor doesn't have a leg to stand on if they actually built the deck incorrectly, or if they didn't pull the permit the way they were supposed to.
But how do we know that?
Well,
other than the deck falling, other than the roof leaking, which you know, common sense tells you, somebody didn't do their job right. How would you know if everything seemed to be okay?
You really wouldn't. Most homeowners actually, when I show up to a house if they have an issue, they actually think things weren't too bad. It looks pretty good to me. 100% incorrect. It was done wrong from the beginning, from the first nail to the last. And they don't know because it's not your business. So what do? If you hire someone, make sure that you hire someone with a license, a contractor's license. Now, just a few years ago, you could hire a roofer, no license required. A vinyl siding guy, no license required. Same thing with a window and door person. So these people that did not have to have a license, it was scary for the general public to hire someone without knowing they have a qualification.
Where do they find out, though, Andy, whether you need a license to perform
I'll tell you, everything needs a license now. I don't care what you're doing. Even if you're painting the outside of a house, you need what is called a certificate, a home improvement certification.
The painter does?
The painter does. So you either need a license or a certification. Now, the thing with the certification is Pat can have a painting company tomorrow. You could get some business cards, and you could have Pat's Painting. And you could literally get a certificate to do it. To be a certified home improvement contractor, there is no requirement that you have any training or knowledge. You just pay the bill, get your certificate, and before you know it, you're a certified home improvement contractor.
So I don't want to be really fresh about this. So there is no guarantee that Pat knows what she's doing when she's painting, but I paid to get a certificate.
That's right.
Who am I paying?
You're paying the state of Massachusetts.
With no qualification.
And it looks great because you have
it sounds great.
It sounds great. If somebody came to your door and said, "Hey, I have a certificate from the state of Massachusetts. I'm a home improvement contractor," you'd think, "All right, let's do it." No, what you really need is not only someone certified, you need someone licensed. You need someone with a Massachusetts construction supervisor's license. Now, the license allows you to pull a permit. The contractor can go to town hall, pull a permit to build the deck or put in the doors or windows.
And he has to show his license.
License, certificate,
You
and
need
both.
both.
And he'll also have to show workers' compensation insurance.
Okay, that makes sense.
You know, if I go to this town hall knows me, so if I go to town hall to pull a permit,
Yep.
even though they know me, they'll require that I present them with my workers' comp certification.
Okay.
My insurance cert.
Yep.
I can't hand it to them. The insurance company has to fax them a copy directly from the insurance company because they don't believe that these certificates are actually real.
Okay.
And there's so much fraud out there.
Yeah.
They want it directly from the insurance company.
Okay.
Even mine, they don't care. The rule's the rule.
All right.
So if in the event you're working on your home, the first step people should do, hire someone certified and licensed.
Okay.
Make sure that the contractor pulls the permit themselves. If the homeowner pulls the permit, they will find themselves in a lot of trouble. Basically, the biggest problem is whoever pulls the permit will be considered the liable party when something goes wrong at the job site. If you pull a permit, you'll be considered the construction supervisor. And if someone cuts their fingers off at the job site or falls off the roof, the person who pulled the permit's going down. Make sure the contractor pulls the permit. If a homeowner pulls a permit, there's another issue. They don't have the license behind them. They don't have the workers' compensation insurance to protect them.
Then why is the city allowing them to?
I'll tell you how.
Go
On
ahead.
a single-family residential house where people lay and have a pillow, their house,
Yeah.
they have the right to pull their own permits
Okay.
without a license.
Okay.
Contractors will often encourage the homeowner to pull their own
Yes.
permit.
I've heard them. I mean, all the time.
You know who would do that? Might do that? A contractor that doesn't have a license. They only have a certificate. So they can't pull the permit anyway.
Okay.
So they don't tell you that. They tell you, well, I have a way that you can save a few dollars.
Right.
You pull the permit, I'll chop off $500, and I'll start as soon as you have the permit in your hands.
And that's when the red bell goes off and you say,
You hire someone else.
Okay.
If a contractor wants you to pull a permit, you don't do it.
okay.
Period.
All right.
They do it.
Okay.
So does that help on that?
Yeah, I guess it does. And you wonder, folks, why, when he walked in the room and said, get another profession, when we work with contractors in new construction and things of this nature, we're right in between all
Absolutely.
of this stuff going on.
It's even more complicated. Let's say that the homeowner in Methuen or anywhere in Massachusetts or in the country,
Yeah.
they're working on a home built before 1978.
Yep.
A house built before 1978, there's a new law relative to that age. Any homes built before 1978 could contain
Lead paint.
lead paint.
Okay.
And there's a new law that was born on April 22, 2010. That law is clear throughout the country. Every contractor must have an RRP certificate
Okay.
before they work on a home built before 1978.
And RRP means?
Renovate, repair, and paint.
Okay.
So you want to hire someone to work on your house built in 1977?
Yep.
They need workers' comp. They need to be licensed. They need to be certified home improvement contractors. And now they need
RRP.
RP.
Wow.
There's a lot. Who would know that?
Well, a lot of people don't. And I can't imagine, Andy, the number of trucks I see out there, home improvements. I'm not talking the big construction companies. I'm talking these guys that, like you said, you decide tomorrow this is what you want to do. You're a handyman.
Sure.
And that's great. And it's great for all of us that need something to be done that's really not handy with a hammer and a screwdriver and whatever else we need. But the liability, I'm telling you, you scared the hell out of me. When I left class, I didn't know if I wanted to let my license lapse or I never wanted to have anything go wrong in my house again because your words are, they're going to own you.
They will destroy you. This is the real world. If you've been doing it long enough, it's just, it's
And you
it's
see it.
real. You see it. You
Okay.
see it every day. Now, most contractors are great. My contractor students are very hard-working guys. They work like dogs.
Yes.
They do a great job. So you have like 99% of these guys do a really good job.
Yeah.
You have a few that don't. but eventually they will die on the vine on their own. Something will happen and they're out of business. But until then, some people will still be scammed, unfortunately. So how do you protect yourself?
Right.
Hire someone with a good reputation who's been around.
Yeah.
Get some references.
Yeah.
Never pull a permit.
Okay.
Get a copy of their license and their workers' compensation,
Okay.
their certificate and their RRP.
If it's before 1978.
And then you're fine. What else are you going to do? Let me tell you the benefit of hiring people the right way. If you hire these folks and you do what I just said, they pull permits, they have the qualifications. Let's say that for some reason something goes wrong and you attempt to go after the contractor to remedy the issue.
Right.
Let's say that they don't have the funds to solve the problem. Times are tough. They can't fix the mistake.
Okay.
They might have to go bankrupt. They cannot cure the problem that they caused.
Okay.
And that can happen.
All right.
Especially now. Contractors, they're not as busy as they used to be. They honestly tried to do the best they could.
Yeah.
A few mistakes were made. Maybe it was their subcontractors that did it, not even them. Okay, now, where do you turn when the contractor has no means of helping you out?
You go to court.
You can go to court. Before you even go to court, there's this new avenue that you can go down, which is the way to go.
All right. What is it?
The home improvement contractors in Massachusetts pay money into a fund.
Okay.
It's called the Guarantee Fund.
Okay.
If in the event what I just said happens, something went wrong, contractor can't help you, you can dip into the Guarantee Fund and you can have the fund cut you a check to correct the problem.
Now, how do most people find this out?
Well, I'll tell you how it's technically how they have to know this. There's a law that if you are working on a 1 to 4 unit owner-occupied property, a contractor is working on a 1 to 4 unit owner-occupied property.
Yep.
The law requires they provide the homeowner with a very specific contract.
Okay.
And the contract can be downloaded. Anyone watching can go online and type in Massachusetts Home Improvement Contractor Contract.
Okay.
That contract, very specifically that one, has to be given to the homeowner.
Okay.
And in that contract, it will say many times from line 1 to the very end that it is important that they have workers' comp. It is important that this person pulls the permit. And in big letters, bold, it will say, you, homeowner, are out of luck. You will never have access to the Guarantee Fund if you pull your own permit. Don't do it.
Okay.
And it explains what the Guarantee Fund is.
Ah, okay.
It's in that.
All right.
My students, when they come to my continuing ed class, all contractors need 12 hours of continuing ed every 2 years. When they show up, many of them already know about this contract.
Okay.
Some don't.
Yep.
The ones that don't are actually using contracts that are completely out of compliance.
Okay.
They don't know until they're taught.
Okay.
So there will be many homeowners listening now that will think back to some job that was done recently, and they will wonder why their contract didn't have those words.
Okay.
It wasn't the proper contract.
All right.
Honestly, I don't blame the contractor. They might not know it. They don't mean to deceive, but there's a lot of information that they always don't have at their disposal until they go to school.
All right. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about what happens every 2 years and why it's mandatory and what you just explained to us, why we need to protect ourselves. Come back and Andy will tell you the rest of this wonderful, amazing, interesting story.
Why not?
I want
we all know
guys. How's everybody doing tonight?
Hello.
Chrissy, hey.
Hey, Alex.
How are you?
Alex? Alex? Hello. I'm Mrs. Garcia. We've heard a lot about you. He is cute. Stop.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to put up with you.
Just close my eyes and I'm with you.
You don't have to be a hero to be a hero. When you adopt a child from foster care, just being there makes all the difference.
Hello, welcome back to In Focus, and we're talking to Andy Consoli, ABC Inspections, and you also do the continuing ed. You're very good.
Thank you.
I mean, you really, truly, and you've been doing, how long have you been doing that, Andy? The
Continuing ed ever since 1995, right about there.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, the boot camps aren't bad at all. Again, when people say, oh my God, it's 2 years, I have to go through 12 hours, and I dreaded it. But, you know, you really make things interesting, and it's so fascinating to find out so many new things, and it's scary at the same time because I'm thinking, I keep my license renewed. I don't know if I want to get back out there based on everything that's going on. Let's talk about...
You were the best student I ever had.
Oh, you didn't even know I was sitting there. That was good, Andy. Okay, we're going to wait for lead paint. We're going to get you back in the spring because you're going to bring in all your equipment that, you know, test lead paint and radon and things like that. Very quickly, percent radon. I can't let this go because now I know what you told me. Let the people out there know about radon because everyone thought it was one of these gimmick things.
Sure. Radon's the #1 cause of lung cancer in the world. Radon. If you don't smoke. If you smoke, that kicks up to #1 and radon drops to #2.
Okay.
Radon is it's a radioactive particle that comes out of the soil, gets into the house. It lands on dust. You breathe in dust. It explodes on your lungs and tears the DNA in half. When the DNA of the lung cell tears in half, it tries to repair itself into a mutant state causing lung cancer. 40% of all the houses we test have a radon level exceeding the EPA's acceptable amount.
What's the acceptable, and because you don't have a machine and people don't carry one, what would the number be?
4 picocuries per liter is unacceptable. So a picocurie per liter means a unit of radiation in a liter of airspace. Think of a liter of Diet Coke.
Yep.
So we have that little bit of space. In that amount of space, 4 little pieces of radon would be too much.
Wow.
And 40% have
Well,
radon.
you know, and I hate to say this, but we did it years ago when this first surfaced. We were told radon was in houses that were built on ledge, basically, okay? And I remembered, oh God, should I say this? I'm going to say it anyway. I know I'm going to get killed for it. But brokers used to, when the kits first came out, people were saying, radon, why do we have to do a radon test? We think this is another rip-off thing, okay? Open up the windows and let everything air out.
Sure.
And now you're telling me that this is really...
real. It's real radiation. It does real damage to the lungs. And radon in water, that's a whole nother problem that causes not only lung cancer, but stomach cancer. It can cause liver cancer, kidney issues.
How do you kill radon? How do you get rid of radon?
Radon, you can get rid of it. You can't kill it.
Well, I don't mean kill it, but how do you eliminate
You
that?
have to remediate radon. You have a concrete floor in the lower level of the house.
Yeah.
We drill a hole through the floor, put a plastic pipe in.
Yeah.
That pipe goes from the floor, along the walls, outside the house, and through the roof line. Now, in that pipe, somewhere along the run of that pipe, between the cellar and the roof, there is a fan that's installed. And the fan sucks the radon from beneath the slab 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's called sub-slab depressurization. We need to remove the radon underneath the slab before it has a chance of getting into the airspace.
Now, before we panic, the whole population out there, I mean, should they be really concerned about this? Really concerned about this?
They should be, because kids are in their homes now. When I was a kid, I was never allowed in my house. It could have been a storm with lightning bolts. My mother said, beat it, and we'll call you when we're ready for dinner.
Okay.
But today, everybody's in the house playing Nintendo, and they don't leave. So they're exposed to environmental issues in their home today more than ever before.
Wow.
Houses are tight today.
Yep.
When I was a kid, the windows were loose and radon came and went. Today, it's trapped in a house. It attaches to dust. It blows up on our lungs. Now, it only takes about 15 years for radon to affect you. So kids, let's say that you're born and you hang around the house for many hours per day. By the time you're 15, 16, you could have lung cancer.
Jeez.
I couldn't because I was never allowed in the house. So, I'm fine.
Okay. How many of you were there in the house? I mean, that
5.
Did you see how that just came out? Do you think they're going to take this out? Oh, no. I just stumbled through this whole thing.
That's
okay.
fine.
There were 5 of you. I wouldn't let you in the house either.
That's true.
I can understand your mother saying,
You
out.
shouldn't have been there. Yeah.
All right. That's a concern. But when you come back in the fall, we're going to talk about that a little bit more in depth. You know what we're talking about, and the concern here was mold.
Sure. Mold's a big deal. Yeah.
I've seen windows in houses where you close a storm window, okay, and the inside window maybe isn't down all the way, and you've had heat go out, and then, by the end of the winter, you're looking, and obviously there was a room in my house that I saw it, and it was mold on the storm window. Is that deadly?
How are you feeling?
I feel fine.
Okay, so
Stop.
mold. I'm in mold every day as a home inspector. I'm fine. I don't react to it, but other people do. Some folks are more sensitive. I could be around 100 cats. It doesn't bother me. Other people are allergic to cats. So it depends on whether you're allergic to it. Even if you're not allergic to it, it's still an irritant. But if you're allergic to it, you have more of an issue. And lately, more people have allergies than ever before for some reason.
Right.
Who knows why? Mold is more of an issue today than it was when I grew up because houses are tight.
Oh, okay, that's right. That's right.
The darn tight house causes more radon.
Yep.
It causes a lack of airflow, which mold can grow.
Okay.
And mold today is more toxic than it was. We actually have some molds up in New England that we never had in the old days.
Really?
Stachybotrys mold is not normal for here, but this is where we're now seeing it, and it's a very highly toxic mold.
Okay.
Penicillium, cladosporium. There are other molds that are toxic as well, and they're on the shower wall in your bathroom. Maybe not your house, but there are houses that have that black
So
mold.
what do you do with that?
You really should clean it because the mold spores can travel into the air, and someone who's sensitive to it can be affected by it.
Now, I know that on the outside of my house, on the front, there's some green because the sun doesn't hit there.
Sure.
You just take Clorox? Is that the prescribed
The outside
method?
of the house is fine. It never hurts you. It's outside. It's Mother Nature. It's normal. But think about the green moss and the mold on the house.
Yep.
Well, when you open a window or a door, the mold spores travel into the house.
Okay.
So what's on the siding is fine because it's outside, but often a lot of that will travel in. 1,200 mold spores on the foot of a fly. So imagine on the sole of your shoe.
Wow.
We're bringing mold in every day, and it's okay. I can live with it, you can live with it, but some people can't.
Okay.
I have many customers who they require that we do a very comprehensive mold evaluation because they have a child who cannot live in a house with mold.
How deadly, Andy? Is it deadly or is it
It is. It even causes liver cancer.
incapacitating?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is. But not normally. I don't want you to panic. Mold is Mother Nature. It's normal.
But there was this, on TV, all the news things that people had to move out of their houses and they had to condemn the houses because of mold. I mean, is this what we're looking at here?
I've been in houses that needed to be condemned, but
How
those cases
likely?
are very bad.
How likely is that?
Very unlikely that your residential single-family home you take care of.
Okay.
Yeah, mold needs moisture. If you don't have humidity, then it just can't. It can't continue to grow. So when you have a leak, it grows. Because this room has mold everywhere. Mold is on my shirt. It's right here a little bit. See it right there? A little bit there. Mold is all over. It's normal.
Oh, God. I'm going to go home.
The issue is as soon as we get too moist, as soon as this lattice gets a high content of like 60% humidity, it will turn black within 48 hours.
Really?
The mold is already here. Okay. It's normal. We just want to keep the humidity down, stop the roof leaks, keep the air conditioning working correctly, stop any plumbing leaks. If we can keep the house dry, mold will not grow.
But if you see it.
If you see it, it might be dormant. But dormant mold can be just as dangerous because the spores can fly about, get into the lungs, and cause problems.
But is it true that if you get a squirt bottle of Clorox and water and you squirt it and you...
It's no good.
Really?
No, as soon as you spray it with bleach or Clorox, that's a wet remediation, they call it. And a wet remediation will appear to whiten the mold, so it turns it pale, and it might kill a lot of it, but it stays wet be longer than it should, and the mold that they didn't get around the periphery grows again.
So how do you get rid of it?
Biocide. You need to buy something called a biocide.
Michelle, are you listening?
And you
Biocide.
can go on the internet and you can look up something called Shockwave.
Okay.
Shockwave.
Yeah.
And Fiberlock. So once you shockwave it with a biocide, let it dry, you coat it with something called Fiberlock, which has a mold-resistant additive in it.
Somebody like you, not you, me, I could do it?
This is the beauty. You don't need a license. There is no such thing as a mold license yet. So you can do it. But if you don't clean up correctly, you're going to cause the spores to travel throughout the other parts of the house. And when the humidity rises, it will multiply.
Wow.
So
That's like bed bugs.
it's like bed bugs. And bed bugs are a problem because
We talked about it. You have to heat your house. You have to take
140
TVs
degrees.
out. You have to.
a nightmare.
Yeah.
In one of my apartments, it just cost me $1,000 to get rid of bed bugs. So
Wow.
It happens.
Yes.
It's not your fault. People bring them in.
Yep.
And once they're in, they're in. These actually came from an apartment above me. They came through the wall, through the electrical outlets, into the apartment. So they both had to be addressed.
You know, I was really excited about having you on the show and enlightening my audience with some of these, basically the 93A stuff. You've just scared the hell out of me again, and probably most of my listening audience thinking, you know what, we're going to die with radon, and we're going to be overwhelmed with mold coming in our vents, just like on the blob on TV, you know, all those things. Yeah. But Andy, I really appreciate you coming in, and hopefully the girls have put up the website and your telephone number. If anyone has any questions, your first and foremost line of your occupation is a home inspector.
That's right.
I know I've seen you in basements and letting out bats and doing crawls. I don't know how you do it. God bless you, because I could never do it. But anyway, first and foremost, anybody looking to renew your license, continuing ed, Andy has he has courses all year round. He has them on the website.
For contractors, home inspectors, and real estate agents.
Okay, everybody that needs 12 hours every 2 years to renew your license in Massachusetts and New Hampshire.
And we have online courses for people who want to do this in their underwear at home. So either way.
They could do that too.
That's right.
That's right. I would rather you're much more comical in person when we're talking for 12 hours. You are funny. But I thank you, Andy, for bringing us all this information, and absolutely we'll have you on the show again to get you to show us, you know, how to prevent some of these things from happening, or how to treat it when it's there, not to panic.
Anytime.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us on In Focus, and we'll catch you next time.